What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MikeTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about The Boys. I'm back, and so are the boys, and we're in town. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. um, so yeah, final season of The Boys. Anything could happen now. For anybody who's been like, they won't kill someone's soul because they'll make it until the end. It's the end, guys. We're in the final stretch. So there is a major death in the first episode. Spoilers abound. It's a recap. That's what happens in recap. So subscribe. Um, I find this show a little bit interesting slash hard to recap. So we're just gonna kind of break it down by character a little bit here. Like who does what, where, with whom, and um, so when's last we left off on the boys, Homelander was rising, continuing to mirror a lot of real world incidents and become a narcissistic leader of the free world. And yeah, that is exactly where he is now. And he's at the beginning, he's at a VOT conference, and things are still not going his way. We see Starlight breaks in and gets a certain video uploaded of him on the airplane from way back, where he's like, we can't save everybody on the plane, so we have to let everybody die because we can't save a couple people who will let, so there's that whole speech that he gave to Maeve back in the day. And he's freaking out and a little panicked about that, and his eyes start to turn red like he's going to, I guess, obliterate the entire audience that just saw it. But Sage just touches him on the shoulder and is like, no, no, no. And so he listens to her and doesn't. So Homelander's trajectory is basically they end up selling that as a deep fake. We see that Firecracker has moved on to running the entertainment portion, since she's having a hard time because she also has like a heart condition with her power slash milk producage. She can't really help Homelander in the way that she wants to, so she's been relegated to just being in charge of making sure the content that is put out onto television and movies and stuff like that is what Homelander would want. There's a little bit of a moment between her and Homelander where she's like, I would give anything to be able to give you what you want. She's still very much in that. Homelander doesn't understand why people are scared of him. He does all this stuff to try to help people. He thinks it's, that he still thinks he's the hero of the story. And that they should like worship him as a god. Sage is sort of catching us up on the fact that, that they picked the president, they got rid of the old one, and now the president that's in charge is super pro soups and making sure that the world is being protected by them. And then they got Ashley in as VP. Ashley, who injected herself with Compound V last season to try to like save herself. So she now supposedly reads minds. Although you could say every single situation that she was in, she just is really good at reading people. But she injected herself with Compound V so that she could have a mutation that might save her life. Supposedly she's a mind reader now. But whatever it is, she's now vice president. What a step up for her. So they have to interact with her a little bit on trying to get things done. And she has aspirations maybe for being president after, as Sage clocks with noticing that the domains for her name for president have all been registered by her. So Sage they reference a lot of Gen V is referenced in here. They reference it through Sage's relationship with Godolkin. And later on, they're going to talk to Starlight. Will reference, you know, the Gen V kids and like what they're doing out there to continue to fight the good fight. They're not in the first episode, but they mentioned it enough that they clearly believe you're watching both shows. If you weren't watching Gen V, the show would seem random to you, but you'd be like, "Who the fuck is Godalkin?" So yes, because Sage dipped into the last season of Gen V for a while. Um, so Homelander wants to try to draw out. He's tired of Starlight because Starlight managed to get into his event, and neither the Deep nor Black Noir, who doesn't do much here, and they do point out the fact that it's a different. This is not the same Black Noir. That's why he talks. Um, so when he tries to not talk, the Deep gives him shit. He's like, "You're not even real Black Noir. Why did you? So just go ahead and talk. Just." He's like, "I'm being method," you know. So uh, neither one of them were able to stop Starlight, and she got the video in and uploaded it. So they want to try. Homelander wants to set up a trap, which is the impending execution of the people he has. So Huey, Milk, and Frenchie are all in one of his camps, Starlighter camps, where they've taken all the Starlighters. Homelander wants up the ante too. Like he's gone from not just taking like terrorists, and as Ashley points out, like we've gone through every single government agency, and he wants to get anybody who's ever done like a meme on social media, liked posts, you know what I'm saying? Like he wants to get anybody out there who's ever done anything anti-Homeland. It's kind of scary how far he wants to go. So Sage is not quite having that. She's trying to like always curb his behavior a little bit and work around it, but they are setting up the for the execution of the three of them. There are a couple other characters that are in the camp. There's a guy with a giant dick. That's the best way to describe him. That's his power. He's like a soup with this, and he keeps strangling people with his penis. That Milk really wants to fight. I forgot them, like lovers, something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He doesn't survive the episode. So, and there's another lady that was in there with Huey that she was talking to. I was like, maybe she was from last season because he was giving her a little bit more time, a little bit more screen time. Now she does too. It doesn't really matter. Uh, so some incredibly minor characters that they focus on for like 5 seconds. It is interesting that the camps are like genderless. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be there. Men and women are mixed together in these camps. So, um, so Starlight is going to end up reteaming with, because Butcher's still out there. So Butcher and Starlight don't get along because Butcher's still trying to find he wants Frenchie out so that he can make that concoction that would kill any soup, all of them, and turn it into a virus that just kills all of the soups. I think it would kill Butcher too because he has enough compound V in him. He would be considered a soup too. But it would also kill Yumiko and Starlight. So he complicated friendship between everybody here. He goes and gets Yumiko and tells her, what's up, because she's obviously Frenchie, right? So, and she talks now too. Fun fact, because in the finale she screamed no as Frenchie was being taken away. So now she just talks all the time. It just doesn't make any sense. I hated that. I was like, she can just say the one word. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because she says no, like her strong silent type is her thing. So, Butcher takes gets Yumiko, and they fly to meet up with Starlight because they realize they've gotten the call and they know it's a trap, and so they're trying to figure out how to make it less trappish, how to make it feel like it's less of a trap. So, um, so they get this other soup. Butcher knows this soup called Worm, that used to write screenplays. So this guy, he gets Worm to dig them a hole into the camp. And so Worm basically, he had, well, first of all, the audio description pointed out he has no genitals, which is fun. But he eats things like he devours all of like the plants and stuff and dirt and sort of like a worm would, and then he shits it out his ass. So like he the stuff just comes flying out the other end. So he moves stuff out of the way, sort of. Um so he digs them a hole, and then the three of them, well, Butcher and Yumiko end up crawling into the tunnel because Starlight was gonna fly them out. Was, I think, because they tried to get A Train, and we see A Train. He's worried about protecting his family, which is for good reason, because we see A Train runs to his family, who's on some sort of like an abandoned island somewhere, and the Deep finds them, and but A Train is able to get his family out of there before the Deep surfaces from the water. And so it just ends up becoming this conversation between the Deep and A Train, and the Deep doesn't really do anything, and A Train just, chastises the Deep for being a shitty hero. A Train has a great conversation with his brother, where his brother's like actually proud of him for doing this kind of work, because A Train's worried that that he put his family in jeopardy, and his brother's trying to reassure him, like, no, you're actually doing real work now. So he gets them out of there, and then A Train feels bad, and he remembers, I guess, the plan. So he's going to come back. So they all break into the jail. Butcher and Yumiko come up through the ground, and it's like a hard trap for them, because basically, like, the three are chained up, and like Homelander's there, right? So he's like waiting for them, for Butcher and Starlight, not Starlight, Yumiko to come through. So, Butcher and Homelander banter for a while, and Homelander slices Yumiko in half, but she doesn't die because she regenerates. She just has to connect to the lower half of her body, which I don't think anybody ever actually does throughout the course of the first episode. I think she's left as an upper torso. So, but she still communicates, and it signals to the three that they have another plan, that they had, thought this might happen. So, Butcher's tentacles and everything, and Homelander can see, I guess, the shitstorm of powers that's happening within Butcher, and he's like, it's amazing, but horrifying at the same time. Like, he's commenting on that, and Butcher's just trying to extend for as long as possible until this giant blast of light, where Starlight sucks all of the energy out from everything around him, comes in and breaks through, and it knocks Homelander off his game. So Butcher's able to free them. Starlight, they free the guys, and so they start, running for the exit and taking people out and trying to free others and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of commotion going on, and someone's carrying Yumiko because she can't walk because they didn't reattach her to part of her body. I forget. I think Frenchie is. So uh, Homelander has this excellent conversation with Huey too about like how he never understood how Huey could, and Huey's just like, because I would do it for them. Like Homelander doesn't understand why it all comes down to Huey all the time. Why Butcher, why Starlight, why everybody keeps this, you know, wet noodle around. And Huey's like, because I would do it for them, that's the answer. Is they say they would save me because they know I would do it for them. So, um, yeah, decides to go, and Homelander makes a joke about mother's milk, and like, you didn't tell me it was mother's milk. I didn't know that's what is, like, that dude really wants some milk. He's missing Firecracker hard. You could tell. But in this commotion, Milk goes and kills the soup with the giant penis. Um, and they all start to escape until it looks like for a second there that maybe they won't be able to, because Homelander has finally figured out everything, has corralled them all together, and has, finally has Starlight there and everybody in front of him. And then all of a sudden, A-Train runs in, and that catches Homelander's attention more than anything else, is that he really wants A-Train. So the shiny object ends up distracting him just enough that he runs away, presumably allowing Starlight, Butcher, and all them to get everybody else out. Although we're not shown that, because the resolution, the surprise, is the fight between Homelander and A-Train, where Homelander takes A-Train and finally catches up to him and beats him up, and A-Train is having a great sort of barbed fight between the two of them, and he says some things that Homelander doesn't like, so Homelander breaks his neck, and we lose A-Train in the opening episode of The Boys. So since A-Train doesn't have any powers that would allow him to regenerate and come back from the dead, the only other, like, sort of, the thing that I skipped over because it's not part of the main plot, is that Butcher goes to visit his father. I don't know why. Just for backstory on Butcher, I guess. Because he talks about how he had a brother that was a magician, and his dad used to make fun of him, and suggest that he was gay for being an award-winning magician, by the way. Like, being a little kid who, like, won a trophy and came home from winning a trophy for being good at magic, and his dad still dismissed him as that. So Butcher and his dad don't get along. But nothing really happens with that. Like, he doesn't kill his dad. Ryan's not there. You know what I'm saying? Ryan is not in the first episode. So he doesn't help out, or he's still a man without a cause somewhere. And it gets really testy when Sage mentions Ryan to Homelander in that, the whole thing. So, yeah, that's the first episode in a nutshell. We'll see what happens in the next episode. There was a 2-episode drop, but I'm doing episode by episode like I did the first time. So, the boys are back. I love the show, and I'm sad to see it go. Who else do you think is not going to make it through the season? If A-Train's expendable, they keep showing Soldier Boy, by the way. I should say that too. I forget because they don't do anything other than show him. But at the end of last season, he was shown that he was in, like, cryo. He's still in cryo. He didn't do anything. He was in cryo. Supposedly, there's a Soldier Boy series that Jensen Ackles is supposed to be working on as sort of like a spin-off or a prequel or whatever to this whole thing. So I don't know that they're going to do much with Soldier Boy other than remind you that he exists, so that the next thing after this, when you see the Soldier Boy show, makes sense to you. I know at some point the Gen V kids are going to make a full cameo. Like, they're not just going to keep mentioning them as like a side project. So, but who else is gonna die? I don't think anybody from Gen V dies because they're gonna need that show moving forward um, to have a plot. I'm gonna guess Sage lives because Sage's powers allow her to be sort of an interesting character who can be utilized. She doesn't really have fighting powers. Her power is like extreme intellect. It'll be interesting to see if Ashley really does have these powers because I don't think the series really made a strong case for her having really great powers. Uh, I could see both Black Noir and the Deep dying because they're not being really extremely useful at this point. So unless the show can justify them, they feel like Homelander's lackeys who are like Tweedledum and Tweedledee at this point. So and he's annoyed with them. Firecracker's expendable because they haven't given her anything to do. On Team Good, man, yeah, I think any of them could die. Truthfully, I think any and all of them could die for the cause. I think they're all. I don't think they all will. Somebody's going to get a happy ending, and there'll be somebody who's left at the end to tell the story, which you would think would be Huey, but it may not be. Huey went into this cause with a willingness and defiance to die. I feel like Butcher makes sense, but I think maybe Starlight feels like the safest to live. I can't see them really killing Starlight, but maybe they could kill Starlight. I don't know. Like I could see each one of them. I could make the cause that each one of them would sacrifice themselves for the cause if it meant killing Homelander. I think any one of the main good characters would strap a bomb to their chest and go hug Homelander if they could. So there isn't anybody there who wouldn't do that. So anyway, uh, that's The Boys. We'll see what happens. I'm glad it's back. I'm sad to see it go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the other side.